The little secretary was crying and threatening to jump off the roof again, all because I spent $15 on groceries without asking for her approval first. She claimed I didn't respect her position. That very night, she handed in her resignation. To comfort her, my husband didn't hesitate to throw me out of the house. He handed me a divorce agreement demanding I leave with absolutely nothing. Don't worry, Hazel, it's just a temporary divorce. You've worked so hard for this family all these years, and you even gave me a son. Once Chloe calms down, we'll get remarried. I looked at him calmly. Are you sure this is already the 10th time you've divorced me? Our 7-year-old son Leo rushed over and began kicking and punching me. You old witch. What are you throwing a tantrum for now? You made a mistake, so you deserve to be punished. Just as they wished, I signed the divorce papers. Once again that night, Chloe posted on her Snapchat, glad someone finally knows her place and knows who the real boss of this house is. I guess I'll reward them with a family photo shoot session. My husband let out a sigh of relief. He immediately and excitedly dialed my number. Babe, Chloe forgave you. We can get remarried now. But the voice that answered him was a deep, magnetic male voice. Sorry mate, your wife is in my bed, and she's a bit exhausted. The moment Marcus heard the unfamiliar male voice, his breath hitched. Who is this? What did you do to my wife? His voice was thick with suppressed rage, like a wild beast ready to pounce. There was no reply, just a low chuckle before the call was cut off. Marcus went completely insane, mobilized every single resource he had. In just 15 minutes he appeared right in front of me. I'm so sorry, Hazel. It was my fault. He hugged me tightly, as if trying to merge me into his own body. I know you were jealous. You hired someone to put on a show and scare me, right? I promise you, I really know I was wrong this time. Don't ever scare me like that again, okay? I wasn't trying to scare you. I pushed him away, looking into his eyes with absolute calmness. We are already divorced. Marcus froze for a second, then forced a dodging smile. All right. I know what you want, a proper apology, right? I'm already prepared with that. He pulled a ring box from his pocket and dropped to one knee. I really know I messed up. You've forgiven me 9 times before, but I kept taking you for granted. I was an absolute jerk. I promise you this is the last time. For the sake of our son, can you give me one more chance? Our son Leo walked over holding a bouquet of my favorite red roses. Mommy, don't go. Don't leave me. I know I was bad. I shouldn't have yelled at you. Daddy already scolded me. Please give Daddy and me one more chance. My usually rebellious son looked so pitiful right now. For a moment, my heart softened. To make things more overwhelming, our friends and family suddenly poured into the room. Each of them was holding a luxury gift box. He lined them up in front of me. Inside were the designer bags and jewelry I used to dream of. Say yes, remarry him. Marcus really treats Hazel like a princess. They say these 10 gift boxes are incredibly valuable. The cheapest one is worth at least $1 million. Marcus hadn't forgotten the promises he made to me when we were young. At this moment, he was fulfilling them one by one. Seeing my hesitation, Marcus grew anxious. Hazel, I know you've always wanted a grand wedding in Provence. I've already booked the flights. Just nod your head, and we can leave right now. Mommy, please hurry up and say yes to Daddy. Both of them looked at me with the same puppy dog eyes. Just as I was about to speak, a sharp, whiny female voice came from the doorway. Marcus, you are so cruel. How could you spend so much money without telling me? I've never received so many gifts from you. How could you just buy all of this for her? I knew you were lying when you said I could manage the household finances. I'm never speaking to you again. Hearing this, Marcus instantly panicked. He spotted Chloe in the crowd, let go of my hand without a second thought, and ran after her. Chloe, don't be mad. Let me explain. Suddenly, hey Marcus, are you still proposing or what? Marcus replied crossly, propose. Can't you see what's more important right now? Without giving me a single glance, he walked away. The crowd slowly packed up the luxury boxes, looking at me with mocking smiles. Well, it looks like Chloe is still his one priority. With the way Marcus was acting just now, I almost thought he was serious this time. You also dropped his sweet act instantly. He looked at me with a smug grin. I only did that because Daddy promised to buy me a new gaming console. I thought we have to play nice for a few days. But in the end, Auntie Chloe is still the important one. You lost again, you old witch. It's all your fault that Auntie Chloe is always angry. You should give all these gifts to her as an apology. Within 2 hours, a wealthy influencer's vlog went viral on TikTok and Instagram. In the video, the luxury gift boxes took up half of the living room. Marcus, who usually only appeared on serious business channels with a cold face, was holding flowers and smiling apologetically behind Chloe. As for Chloe, she just gave a haughty glance. Finally, under Leo's sweet coaxing of calling her mommy, she flashed a beautiful smile. The comment section was flooded. Oh my god, there are 101 gifts in total. Does that mean she's 1 in a million? I'm crying. This is so sweet. Can you believe those jewelry boxes thrown carelessly on the floor are worth millions? Heavens, I don't even throw my tissues around like that. If this were the past, I would have fallen into a deep, endless spiral of panic. Does Marcus still love me? Has my son been completely brainwashed by someone else? In the end, it would only lead to endless arguments and self-doubt. But looking at this now, my heart was surprisingly peaceful. I gave Chloe's post a thumbs up on Snapchat, and then I deleted everyone's contact information. From this moment on, I wanted nothing to do with them. Just then Ethan, who had gone out to buy some things for me, finally returned. What happened? Did your blood sugar drop again? Seeing me shake my head, he let out a sigh of relief. He handed me the takeout from a fancy French bistro and casually mentioned, by the way, while you were asleep, someone called you. He sounded pretty aggressive, so I just hung up. I hope it didn't mess up anything for you. I knew exactly who he was talking about, just a spam caller. I've already blocked him. I didn't notice the slight curl of Ethan's lips after eating. I started packing after being kicked out of the house. I didn't bring much with me. 10 years of marriage, and all that was left fit into a few bags of clothes and personal items. I calmly booked a one-way ticket out of the country for 3 days later. Once I left, I probably would never come back. But before I left, I had one last thing to settle. The next day, I went directly to a high-end auction house. Years ago, I helped Marcus build his empire from scratch. When we were desperate for cash, I had to pawn the necklace my late mother left me. By the time we had the money to buy it back, the pawn shop had gone out of business, and the necklace was lost. Only recently did I find out it was being auctioned off. As soon as I walked into the venue, someone called my name. Hazel, what are you doing here? It was Chloe. Standing behind her were several of my former friends. Do you even need to ask? She must have stalked Marcus's schedule. Look at her. She just can't let go. Yesterday, she was acting so high and mighty, refusing to remarry him. Quite an actress, huh? Come on, Hazel. Just go over and apologize to Chloe, and we can put this whole thing behind us. Someone reached out to grab my hand, but I slapped it away. Apologize to a homewrecker? I sneered. I spent $15 of my own money on groceries. What exactly did I do wrong? Back then, I gave up my successful acting career to become a full-time housewife for Marcus. I thought I would finally enjoy life once his business succeeded. But instead, I lived a life worse than Chloe's dog. Not only was my spending strictly limited, but I also had to report every single purchase to secretary. I used to endure all of this for the sake of my child, but now since my son doesn't even recognize me as his mother, I don't want either of them anymore. I ignored them and walked toward the seating area. The auction was about to begin. I quickly found my seat, but Chloe's eyes turned red. She looked pitifully at Marcus, who had just finished socializing and walked over. Marcus, why are you just getting here? You promised you would protect me. Why do you keep letting this woman bully me? Chloe looked incredibly aggrieved, and Marcus's heart melted with pity. I don't care. I want that emerald necklace. If you don't buy it for me, I'll never speak to you again. I looked up at the stage. The item up for bid was indeed the necklace my mother left me. I immediately raised my paddle. $1 million. This was already $200,000 higher than the previous bid. No one would want to pay that much for an outdated necklace. Seeing Marcus raise his paddle, without hesitation, I turned around and spoke directly to him. Marcus, even a gentle soul has its limits. I already left with nothing. How much further do you want to push me? You promised me and my mother that you would buy this necklace back. Look closely at it. This is not some cheap toy to please your mistress. Marcus froze. A look of shock flashed through his eyes. He wasn't used to me speaking to him in such a cold, detached tone. Slowly, he lowered his hand. The auctioneer on stage called out, going once at $1 million, going twice at $1 million. But Chloe panicked. Marcus, you promised me. Who are you choosing, her or me? Tears welled up in Chloe's eyes. It looked as if she would burst into tears if Marcus dared to say no. Marcus looked at me, then at Chloe. His gaze turned firm. I smiled bitterly to myself. How could an ex-wife like me ever compete with his precious mistress? Just as I was about to walk away, Marcus slowly lifted his bidding paddle again. $2 million. The room erupted into whispers. Chloe instantly beamed, wrapping both arms around his. I knew you loved me the most. Marcus never looked at me. Hazel, he said flatly. I'll compensate you later. Chloe likes this necklace. Don't make a scene over an old piece of jewelry. An old piece of jewelry. My mother's final gift to me had become an old piece of jewelry. I laughed. Not angrily, just disappointed. $3 million, I said. Marcus frowned. Hazel, stop being childish. $5 million. Gasps echoed through the hall. One of the investors whispered, that necklace isn't worth even a tenth of that. I didn't care. It wasn't the necklace I was buying. It was the last remaining connection to my mother. Marcus raised his paddle again. $6 million. Marcus. Chloe squealed happily. I closed my eyes. So this was his choice. Without another word, I reached into my purse and pulled out a black invitation. Then I stood. I withdraw. Satisfied, Chloe leaned toward me with a smug smile. See? You know your place. The hammer fell. Sold for $6 million. The moment the auction ended, Chloe practically skipped onto the stage to receive the necklace. She held it against her neck while taking selfies. My followers are going to love this. Marcus finally walked over to me. Hazel, I'll have someone transfer $6 million into your account later. I don't need your money. He paused. Then, what do you want? I looked at him one last time. I wanted you to keep your promise. You failed. His face turned pale. Before he could speak again, a distinguished elderly man in a tailored suit hurried toward me. Miss Hazel. He bowed slightly. The chairman has arrived. Everyone nearby froze. Chairman? Who was important enough for the prestigious Silvercrest auction house to send its chairman personally. An elegant middle-aged man followed behind the elderly assistant. The instant Marcus saw him, his pupils shrank. Mr. Hawthorne. The founder of Hawthorne Global. The man whose company was worth dozens of Marcus's businesses combined. Marcus immediately straightened his suit. Mr. Hawthorne, what an honor. But the billionaire walked past him without even sparing him a glance. Instead, he stopped directly in front of me, then smiled warmly. Hazel. I've been looking for you. The entire auction hall went silent. Marcus stared in disbelief. You know Mr. Hawthorne? Before I could answer, Ethan walked into the hall carrying a document folder. Sorry I'm late. I finally finished the acquisition paperwork. He casually handed the folder to me. On the front were several bold words. Acquisition agreement, Montgomery Group. Marcus's smile disappeared. His hands began trembling. What acquisition? Ethan looked at him with faint amusement. Didn't Hazel tell you? Starting tomorrow, your company won't belong to you anymore. The words hit Marcus like a bolt of lightning. What nonsense are you talking about? He laughed stiffly, trying to convince himself. Montgomery Group isn't publicly listed. No one can just buy it. Ethan shrugged. Normally? No. But when every major shareholder loses confidence at the same time, things become much easier. Marcus's face slowly lost all color. What shareholders? Mr. Hawthorne calmly answered for him. The ones who sold us their shares this morning. The bank that refused to renew your line of credit. The 3 suppliers that terminated their contracts. And the investment fund that exercised its emergency withdrawal clause. Each sentence was like another hammer blow. Marcus staggered backward. Impossible. I would have known. You would have, Ethan replied, if you hadn't spent the last 24 hours chasing after your secretary. A ripple of laughter spread through the auction hall. Even Chloe's smile faltered. Marcus hurriedly pulled out his phone. One call. No answer. Another. Rejected. His assistant. His finance director. His legal team. No one picked up. Finally, his CFO answered. Mr. Montgomery, we've been trying to reach you. The banks froze our expansion funding. Our largest clients suspended their contracts. Our stockholders sold. We're finished. The call ended. Marcus stood there in complete silence. His empire, the one Hazel had spent years helping him build, had begun collapsing in less than a day. Meanwhile, Chloe was still clutching the emerald necklace. She forced a laugh. So what? Marcus is still rich. We still have our mansion. Ethan smiled. About that, the mansion was used as collateral. The cars too. And most of your luxury accounts have already been frozen, pending restructuring. Chloe's expression cracked. What? No. She turned toward Marcus. Say something. Marcus couldn't. His legs gave out. He collapsed into a nearby chair. Only then did he finally understand. Hazel hadn't left him with nothing. She had simply stopped holding him up. For 10 years she had quietly managed the finances, negotiated suppliers, calmed investors, and cleaned up every crisis before he even knew it existed. He thought his success came from his own brilliance. The moment she walked away, everything unraveled. He slowly raised his head to look at me. Hazel, please. I know now. I know I was wrong. I don't want the company. I don't want anything. I just want my family back. Before I could answer, another small figure burst into the auction hall. Daddy. Leo ran over, carrying his brand new gaming console. He stopped when he saw Marcus sitting on the floor. Daddy, why are you crying? Marcus pulled his son into his arms. Leo, go apologize to your mother. Leo looked at me, then at Chloe. Confusion filled his face. But, Auntie, Chloe said. Before he could finish, Chloe snapped. Why should he apologize? She grabbed Marcus's arm. Forget them. You still have me. Marcus slowly looked at her. For the first time, there wasn't an ounce of affection left in his eyes. Only exhaustion. You ruined everything. Chloe's eyes widened. I ruined everything? I did all this for you. You said Hazel was boring. You said she didn't understand you. You were the one who kept asking me to stay. And who handed me control of your household finances? The room fell silent. Several reporters, who had come to cover the auction, quietly lifted their cameras. Click, click, click. Marcus suddenly realized what she had just admitted. Every guest had heard it. Every camera had recorded it. The perfect businessman had publicly allowed his secretary to control his wife, manipulate his child, and interfere in his marriage. By sunset, the video would be everywhere. By that evening, Marcus and Chloe's argument had already gone viral. But I didn't stay around to watch. I had more important things to do. I collected the paperwork from Ethan and prepared to leave the auction house when the manager suddenly hurried after me. Ms. Hazel, please wait. He was carrying the emerald necklace. I frowned. Didn't Chloe win it? She did. Unfortunately, Mr. Montgomery's payment was declined. I burst out laughing. $6 million. Chloe had forced Marcus to bid 6 times the amount I offered, only for his accounts to be frozen before he could even pay. $1 million, I said, raising my paddle toward the auctioneer. The auctioneer stared at me. Technically, bidding had ended. Mr. Hawthorne smiled. Consider the previous transaction void. 5 minutes later, my mother's necklace was finally around my neck. I touched the emerald gently. Mom, I'm sorry it took so long. Behind me came screaming. You can't do this. Chloe had completely lost her sweet secretary act. That's my necklace. Security dragged her away while she kicked and screamed. Marcus didn't even look at her. He followed me outside instead. Hazel. I stopped. Marcus came running down the steps with Leo behind him. I'll fix everything. Give me 3 months. I'll rebuild the company. I'll fire Chloe. I'll transfer every asset into your name. I stared at him. You still don't understand. I don't want your company. I don't want your mansion. And I definitely don't want you. Marcus's eyes reddened. Leo suddenly grabbed my coat. Mommy. I looked down. He started crying. I'm sorry. Can I come with you? For 7 years, that would have been enough. 1 tear from my son, and I would have forgiven anything. But then I remembered him kicking me, calling me an old witch, laughing while telling me Chloe was more important. I gently removed his fingers. Leo, you're old enough to understand that words hurt people. His little face crumpled. But I'm your son. Yes. And I'll always make sure you're safe and cared for. But I'm not going back to that house. He began sobbing. Marcus hugged him. For once, I didn't turn around. 3 days later, I boarded my flight with Ethan. Marcus appeared at the airport 20 minutes before departure. He ran through the terminal like a madman. Hazel. I could hear him shouting my name. I kept walking. Hazel, please. I stopped once. Marcus looked hopeful. Then I smiled. Goodbye, Marcus. The boarding gate closed between us. That was the last conversation we ever had. 6 months later, Montgomery Group officially disappeared. Mr. Hawthorne's company absorbed its profitable divisions while the rest were sold. Marcus lost the mansion. He lost most of his luxury cars. Several former partners sued him over broken contracts. He wasn't poor, but the billionaire lifestyle he had been so proud of was gone. Chloe disappeared even faster. The moment Marcus lost his money, she dumped him. Unfortunately for her, she'd spent years presenting herself online as practically Mrs. Montgomery. When the scandal broke, brands dropped her. Her influencer friends suddenly couldn't remember her name. Then Marcus's lawyers discovered she'd been approving personal purchases through company accounts while controlling the household finances. Designer bags, vacations, cosmetic treatments, luxury hotel stays, all while questioning me over $15 of groceries. Marcus sued her. Chloe countersued him. They spent the next 2 years tearing each other apart. As for Leo, he stayed with Marcus. I remained involved in his life, but I stopped allowing guilt to control me. The first few months, every conversation was the same. Mommy, when are you coming home? I'm not, but Daddy misses you. That's Daddy's problem. Auntie Chloe is gone. That doesn't change anything. Eventually Leo stopped asking. And slowly something unexpected happened. He started changing. Without Chloe rewarding his bad behavior and Marcus encouraging him to disrespect me, he began realizing exactly what he'd done. One afternoon he called me. Mom, yeah. There was a long silence. Then he whispered, I don't want a gaming console anymore. I smiled. That's random. I only said those things because Daddy promised me one. I know. I think I was horrible. You were. He sniffled. I laughed. Don't cry. Being horrible at 7 doesn't mean you have to be horrible forever. That became our new beginning. Not the old relationship, A healthier one. Meanwhile, Ethan and I traveled everywhere. Paris, Tokyo, Florence, Santorini. One morning in Provence, I woke up and found him standing on the balcony. I walked behind him. Why are you awake? He turned around. There was a ring in his hand. I immediately narrowed my eyes. If you're proposing before breakfast, I'm saying no. Ethan stared at me, then slowly put the ring away. Understandable. I burst out laughing. Idiot. He grabbed me around the waist. Can I propose after breakfast? Depends on what's for breakfast. Anything you want. Correct answer. That afternoon, Ethan proposed in a lavender field. No $100 million jewelry. No crowd chanting for me to say yes. No child being bribed to manipulate me. No secretary threatening to jump off a roof because somebody bought groceries. Just Ethan. And me. I said yes. 2 years later, Marcus saw our wedding photos. He apparently stared at them for hours. Leo told me later that Marcus had gotten drunk that night and pulled out our original wedding album. He kept repeating one sentence. She used to look at me like that. Maybe she did. But that woman didn't exist anymore. Years passed. My acting career, which I'd abandoned for marriage, unexpectedly found me again. I started with a supporting role, then another, then a leading role. At 41, I won my first major acting award. Standing underneath the stage lights, I looked down at Ethan and Leo applauding in the audience. My mother's emerald necklace rested against my throat. I smiled. For 10 years, I thought being a good wife meant making myself smaller, so everyone else could feel bigger. The room became quiet. I was wrong. I lifted my trophy. So, here's to being difficult. Everyone laughed. Here's to buying $15 groceries without asking permission. More laughter. And here's to never divorcing the same idiot 11 times. Ethan laughed so hard, he nearly fell out of his chair. Later that night, my phone buzzed. Marcus had sent one final message. Congratulations. You looked beautiful tonight. I stared at it for several seconds, then typed. Thank you. Nothing more. No revenge speech. No argument. I didn't need one. Because Chloe had wanted my position. Marcus had wanted my obedience. Leo had wanted his gaming console. And I had finally wanted myself. This time, I got exactly what I wanted.